So what's up guys, I am BlackOpsAmazing, welcome back to another Zombies Questions, where today I'm going to be answering a bunch of questions that you guys have been asking me to do with the zombie storyline down in the comments section below. As always, if you enjoy the video, a like rating would be very much appreciated. Make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest videos on the channel, and without further ado, when you're ready, let's go. So the first question from Escaped Torso says, why can the transit crew hear Maxis but only Stu can hear Richthofen? Well, the reason why only Samuel can hear Richthofen is because he is part of the Flesh. The Flesh is a group of survivors who eat the undead. Since the zombie outbreak happened on Earth and there was very little food, this group of survivors decided that the best way for them to survive was to eat zombies. And so together, these people that did that joined as a group called the Flesh. And as we know, Stuhlinger joined this group. Through the consumption of the undead meat, this meant that this group was able to hear Richthofen. I guess because they were eating zombies, and these zombies contain element 115, they are infected with it, and as we know, 115 has a direct link to the ether, and as we know, Richthofen has control over the ether. That is more than likely the reason why only people who are part of this group can hear Richthofen. Since they are eating the undead and Richthofen has a link to this means people who are part of this group can hear what he says. And so everyone who is part of the Flesh, including Samuel, begins to hear Richthofen's voice, where he tries to persuade them that they need to build a global polarization device for him in pursuit of his new plan, to mend the rift in space and time and acquire full control over the ether. And on April the 4th of 2028, the Flesh broadcast their message across all frequencies, where they told everyone to heed their call, and that the path of enlightenment can only be achieved by consuming the undead. So to answer your question, the reason why only Samuel can hear Richthofen is because he consumed the flesh of the undead. The other characters didn't. The next question from Urban Ragtag says, why is there a downed robot in Origins, and what robot steps on the spawn building in the beginning? So for that last one, I don't really know. It is one of the three, but there is a downed robot in Origins. Now, we don't exactly know how it went down, but more than likely it was shot down by the enemy. As we know, this is during the time of World War I. There is a massive battle going on, and the robots belong to the Germans, so it's more than likely the enemy that is fighting against the Germans that shot this robot down, either by plane or the people on the ground. We're not exactly sure, but there is a downed robot. And the ones that are still up and running are the three Freya, Odin, and Thor. The next question from the next question says, why does Nikolai and Takeo kill the other characters? Eli, not very good grammar there. Anyway, so this is just something I wanted to clear up. We do see in the trailers of both Gorod Karovi and Zetsubo Oshima, in the alternate trailers, that Nikolai kills the characters. Nikolai kills Takeo, Dempsey, and Richthofen, and then in the Zetsubo Oshima trailer, as we know, Takeo kills Richthofen, Nikolai, and Dempsey. But then when we come to it in the game, obviously these characters are not dead, they are alive. So why do we see them being killed in the trailer, yet in game they're actually still alive? Well, my theory to this is the fact that our characters are stuck in a loop. As we know, this whole zombie storyline is one big loop, and then inside of this, each map is in a loop of its own. Origins itself is in a loop, Revelations is a loop, Gorod Karovi is a loop, Zetsubo Oshima, Shinonuma, Verrucht. Every single zombies map is in a loop of its own, and the best way I can describe this is if we look at Die Rise. We see on that trailer that our characters are all killed. I believe it's Russman who gets eaten by the zombies and dies, and then at the very end, when our characters are coming out of the elevator, the rest are killed by the zombies. But at the end of this trailer, we see them spawn back in. It is in fact Richthofen who sends them back in time to the very beginning to redo this over again. And our characters will say, haven't we been here before? They kind of recognize this location, but they don't exactly remember that they died and have actually been sent back in time to do this all again by Richthofen. And I believe that's what's happening for every map. We see in Gorod Karovi, Nikolai did kill the characters, but because they died, that meant the loop continued, it wasn't broken, our characters didn't succeed, and so were sent back to the very beginning to do that over and over again. And our characters probably died 10 or 11, 12 times before we eventually completed that Easter egg and did it right. Who exactly sends us back? Well, obviously in Transit, Die Rise, and Buried, it is Richthofen. Because he is in control of the zombies, he is able to send our characters back whenever they die or don't complete complete whatever steps he wants them to do. But then in maps like Gorod-Karovi, obviously Richtofen isn't in control, so was it Dr. Monty? As we know, he is this godly figure that has been watching over us, so I'm thinking that maybe it was Dr. Monty who sends us back in time to the very beginning whenever we die. And we even see in Revelations, Dr. Monty sends us back to the very beginning of Primus. He continues this cycle, continues this loop by sending us back. And so when people ask me, why did Nikolai and Takeo kill the characters in Zetsubou no Shima and Gorod-Karovi? Why do we see them die, and did this actually take place? The answer is yes. They died previously in both of these maps attempting to complete the Easter egg, but when they do die, we get sent back to the very beginning until we eventually do it. Because if we die, the cycle continues. If we succeed, the cycle breaks and we can carry on. Also similar to Mob of the Dead. True Golden Prince says, I've asked 4 times before and I'll ask it again. Who is more powerful, Dr. Monty or the Shadow Man? The next question is, how can the plane from Mob of the Dead be at Derice and Shadows of Evil if Stanley says that the plane was actually never built? And this is a good question. Now first off, obviously we see it in the Giant, not Derice, 2 different universes, but we do see the plane of Mob of the Dead flying over the sky in Shadows of Evil, and then we also see it on the roof of the Giant. But how can that be when in real life this plane was never actually built? Now of course it was built in the afterlife, in Purgatory, but in real life the characters never actually got to build the plane and killed each other, or at least the characters killed Al on the rooftop, and then the other 3 were sentenced to death by electric chair. In real life, they all died and they never managed to build the plane and escape. Of course, all of that happened in Purgatory. So if it was never built in real life, how can we see it in what essentially is real life in The Giant and Shadows of Evil? That is a good question. And it's kind of strange, but obviously Purgatory, or the afterlife where the Mob of the Dead crew do build the plane, that iteration obviously also affects real life. So as the universes became more fractured in Shadows of Evil and The Giant, as they began to fall apart across space and time, the Mob of the Dead universe collides with the Shadows of Evil and The Giant universe, and so we see the plane from Mob of the Dead collide into the Giant universe. Not only that, but also in the sky of the Shadows of Evil universe. It's not supposed to be there, but because Richtofen killed himself in the Giant, which triggered fractures across space and time, we see this event take place, but it's kind of strange. So anyway, there we go. That is it for today. Hopefully you have enjoyed the video. If you have a like rating, would be very much appreciated. Make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest videos on the channel. Leave your comments in the comment section below, and of course we'll see you all in the next video. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.